PAGS, Protective Action Guidelines. These are federal documents that detail what to do in case of an emergency. Again, these are federal protective action guidelines. And notice the word guideline on the end of it because there is a lot left open to interpretation. Went and reviewed these because Fukushima. What are the expected actions of the federal government in the case of a national or international emergency? How do they react? These protective action guidelines specify exactly that. But these are programmatic documents. It's part of a huge thing we'll get into. But because they're part of a program, in order to get initiated, somebody has to sign a paper. When they sign that, depending on that PAG, it releases resources across almost every federal agency and commits them to this emergency. This would be a federal emergency. So in this case, this was the PAGs for a radiological incident. There's many of these things. These are what turn on FEMA. Somebody in an agency signs a document like this and things happen. Emergency relief gets planned. These are massive documents that point to other massive documents inside huge institutions meant to guide and serve and protect. Maybe. So, PAG, Protective Action Guidelines, are federal PAGs. The states have these types of things for emergency management. In going through these, they try to realize what resources, how many tents do they need. So this radiological PAG specifically, again, takes a signature. It opens up the resources of national labs. It all of a sudden makes conversations happen that have only been practiced before. So the signature on that PAG and the level of commitment, in other words, the dollars that are going to be released for this federal action, matter. So it's hard to track down. These are called stakeholders. These are above everybody else. If they don't sign the initiating documents, then I guess it's called we'll leave politics out of this. So that's the function of a protective action guideline. Again, in the case of a radiological accident, this PAG goes through the process and procedures for assessing a radiological situation. It involves Geiger counters, it involves spectrometers, it involves things like weather and atmospheric information, which way the wind is blowing. It involves, so again, we're not talking to each other about this. We're telling NOAA to give us surface weather information, surface weather flows, even current flows across the planet. These are doors you can knock on within federal institutions, and they have to, well, they're supposed to get along, right? So inside those PAGs, again, lots of references, lots of materials you can go through for months, are the training recommendations, the roles and responsibilities, references to very large tool sets that involved, again, the spectrometers, the samples being taken and sent to a lab for analysis, the individuals with only a Geiger counter collecting information that is related to the information from the spectrometers in the labs. There's no such thing as one isotope. in a nuclear accident. They don't work that way. So those PAGs are great reading. I'll see if I can find a link and put it in the description. But it's not much, it's just a process flow. But you have to realize the process of turning it on. The signatures that have to be put, the commitment to funding and resources in this. So this is what Obama had to do. He had to sign a PAG, or one of his agency heads did, in order to release funding, resources, and the dozen national labs capable of doing this work, and a few other colleges and universities all get involved. Or should suppose, maybe, we don't know. We're America, right? We're just not sure things are supposed to work. All right. Hope the volume worked on this one. Thank you all.